Be honest. Be you. Be
I
authentic.
am. I
Yes.
am. That's my
Good.
point of view.
That's
How are
good.
you? How are you?
Good. I'm good. Yeah. I've heard
Who's
from
that?
what?
Who was that? What was? You're like, I'm
Someone
good.
behind me?
I'm good. Well, you just like you said be honest, and then you turned into a different person.
Oh,
Like that was like a character.
was I just possessed? I have
You
no
were like, I'm
idea.
good. I'm good. I was
I
like,
said, well,
who?
you said I am. I am. I am honest. I
Oh,
am authentic. And I said,
okay.
good, good. And then you asked how I
All
was,
right.
and I turned it to, I'm good. What is happening? I am good. I've heard back from a few doctor programs with acceptances, so
Pew, 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 pew.
I'm very excited about that. It was weird when I heard back from the first one. I turned to the people around me and I turned to my family and I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor, but at the same time, I was like, that doesn't sound right. Like I feel like only medical doctors can be called doctors, but at the same time, people who have PhDs and PsyDs and other doctorates should also be able to be called doctors. But I don't know. It's growing on me. It's also growing on me. So I don't know. I'm excited because imposter syndrome until you get that first acceptance of why would they accept me over anybody else to a doctorate program. And I've had some acceptances. I'm still waiting on some, so I'm not naming anywhere or saying how many I got, but I'm I'm excited. I'm super excited, and I'm now nervous.
I have a
But
question.
yeah, what's your
Your
question?
imposter syndrome goes away once you get the acceptance letter. I love that for you.
For me, yeah. Has that not
The,
happened?
no, I get it, and I'm like, oh, they made a mistake. I
I
pulled
mean,
the
there
wool over
in
their
this
eyes.
instance, in this in this instance, I feel like the imposter syndrome has gone away a little bit. I mean, I got in. I still have to go through the program in order to earn my doctorate. So I know that I'm not that much of a fool, but I got in, and I feel like that's a hurdle I needed to come across,
Yes, and we're
and
very proud of
I'm
you
there.
here at Point
So
of View.
thank you, thank you. So we'll see what happens in the coming weeks, but who knows?
It's great.
I might be a doctor of psychology in the
As
next
long
few
as you
years.
don't leave the show, you can be whatever you want.
Yeah. Hobbies are important.
Have you ever thought about that if one of us did leave the show, if it would continue? I would hope it would, honest to God. I have no plans. Listeners, I have zero plans to leave the show. And it would be a little weird if Justin left and I was still hosting Point of View. But
Right, have to. We
I
should
would hope
rebrand.
that,
You love rebranding.
no, honestly, part of me wouldn't want to. If you left, this is just a random thought I've had, and I hope you never do. But I would want
I
it to be
haven't. Are you
like,
replacing me in your head?
no, 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 no. But I would want to keep the show going as like if I were to ever leave, I would hope that you would still do the show. Honest to God, I'm not
Hmm.
leaving. I'm not going anywhere. This is. I'm too. I'm not going anywhere. And I hope you aren't either.
You're in too deep.
I'm in too deep. Um.
Copy.
But yeah. Did
I
you
set
just
you up
copy
for that.
yourself?
No, I copied you because you
Oh,
repeated me. So I
I'm in too
just.
deep. Okay, I'll say it.
But anyway, yeah, show would I would think the show I'd want it to continue.
Me
I was
too.
actually I've been listening to a few podcasts recently that it's just a single person talking. Like there's no co-host, it's just a single host. And I don't know if I would be able to do that. So if you were to leave, not to replace you, but
No, I
I
would
think I
want you
would
to.
I'd need a co-host because I don't think I'd be able to just write up an episode and just go because I think what makes our episodes I don't know, relatable and what people like is the conversation and I don't think I'd be able to just have a conversation or do a monologue or soliloquy every
No, I would
every
want you to. I would want you to replace me, honestly. And I would again. I would never leave. I say it more as like, if I were to take a year off, or if you had to take it, like if one of us had some like big life event that we just really needed to focus our time. That's what I mean. If we were gonna do
yeah.
like a year, and we wanted the show to continue, like I would want you to do it for a year without me, and I would still want to like I would. I'm most protective of the marketing and the branding. So
Yeah.
I would want to stay on for that.
So you
But
would stay on as a marketing producer.
right.
Episode, we talked about the Grammys,
Mhm.
Grammys, and we talked
Grammys.
about EGOT status and all that stuff. So we are now in the middle of award season,
We are.
which is, I guess, starts off with the Golden Globes, then we goes to the Grammys, then goes to the Oscars, then Emmys, then Tonys. I think is how the order goes. No,
Yeah,
am
I don't
I wrong?
really care about the last two, so
No.
I think
Okay.
you're right on the first
Okay.
three.
But right now,
They're
this
not
weekend
important.
is the Oscars, right?
Yes.
So I understand you want to talk about some movies. Some
Yeah,
movies.
well, I just like I said, I'm not an expert, and Nick will be on the show later in the episode, but I love going to the movies, so I thought it would be a fun conversation. We've actually never had it, which is kind of wild to me. We've talked about Pixar movies and we've ranked them with, um, you know, funny enough, my other friend Nick Staker on episode 13. Uh, but we've never just talked about movies in general, so it got me thinking. Before we go into movies, do you like going to the movies too?
I do like going to the movies, mostly for the popcorn. It's funny
Yeah.
because if I have the choice between starting a new television show, TV show at home or watching a movie, I will always go TV. And I think it's because I only have commitment issues in this area of my life. Like,
Mm.
okay, I can't sit down and watch 2 hours, a 2 hour movie or 2.5 hour movie or a 3 hour movie. But yet I'll watch that same amount of time of TV
Right.
because I feel like, okay, I can bail after an hour, I can bail after 30 minutes. So I'm not a huge movie person at home, but if there's a new movie that is coming into theaters, I like that. I like the theater experience. I like getting my big ass popcorn with all of the butter on it, and
Mm-hmm.
usually I get a lemonade, although sometimes I get a Coke or sometimes I'm a big orange soda person. I don't know. Maybe I'll change my fruit to orange someday. Who knows? But I, but yeah, I like that experience, and I'll get halfway through the bag of popcorn before the movie starts. That's not really a
Wow.
goal. That's just something that happens.
Impressive. Impressive. I barely skim the top of mine. My go-to right now is Twizzlers. I don't get much. I get Twizzlers.
Mm,
Sometimes I'll get a large popcorn. At the new theater, they have the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. So, like, I like a
mm.
Fanta Cherry with Barks cream soda mixed in. That's really good.
If you get Twizzlers, do you have to get the big pack of like
Yeah,
not 100, but like it feels
no.
like there's 100 Twizzlers in there?
Yeah, but that's okay because it feels like there's 1,000 kernels of popcorn in the bucket that they give you. But
That's true too.
have you ever done the trick where you stick the straw in it and pump the butter through the straw?
This no, the straw in the butter dispenser.
Yeah, it's a life hack. Well, you don't put the straw in the butter dispenser. You put the straw in the popcorn, and then you aim
So it goes
the
down more toward the bottom
down. Yeah, yeah,
of the
yeah.
bucket of popcorn.
Oh, you can do the bottom,
Interesting.
then you lift the straw up. That's like I think that's a TikTok life hack. I didn't see it on TikTok, but I had
Wow.
heard about it, and I saw someone doing it at the theater in line before me. So I tried it.
I've never heard of that, but I appreciate when the movie theater employees fill half the bucket, put some butter on it, and then fill the other half of the bucket. Although I feel like more and more popcorn buckets are already pre-filled, so that doesn't happen as much. Maybe it does, but I love if I'm gonna have a bucket of popcorn at the movie theater, it's gonna be buttery, salty. All the I'm not thinking about health at that point. I'm
Oh,
just clogging
same.
arteries for the night.
Same. And I will say this new Showcase Deluxe has a Starbucks. And I learned for the first time that they can do pink drinks.
That's
They don't
awesome.
have it listed on their menu, but they have coconut milk and they have the strawberry acai refresher. So I will be getting that next. But our discussion about movies today, because like I said, I don't consider myself an expert. I don't think you do. So before we bring Nick in, I just wanted to talk about our favorite movies. So I asked you to bring your top five. Mine are Nick is a very intelligent person,
I
which
was
I
gonna
think
bring
is
up something like this. I think I know where you're going, but go ahead.
hysterical because this Nick myself has the Cat in the Hat live action in my top five. So I think that's going to be a really interesting contrast,
It's gonna be a
and
huge
a funny
contrast
one,
here.
and a funny one. But what are your like? What do you want? Let's go from. Do you have yours ranked? Like, do you know your definitive five, like in order,
I
or
don't
do
have a
you?
rank, but I have
I don't either.
five. And when I was coming up with this list, I felt like I had amnesia because was I just couldn't remember any of the movies that I had seen. So a lot of these movies are more on the more recent side. And
Okay.
I will say right off the bat, none of these movies, maybe one, are considered by, real moviegoers as, oh, that's a classic. Oh, that's this or
Same.
that. These are just
Same.
like, I mean, you mentioned Cat in the Hat. Like
Yes.
I don't have. I
Let's
also
let's kick it off with that one.
you're what with yours, Cat in the Hat?
With Cat in the Hat, we already said it, but you were gonna say something. What were you gonna say first?
Well, no, I was just gonna say too, when I watch a movie, and same thing goes with TV shows. Like I'm not big into drama movies. I want something that will like help me escape, and sometimes drama can do that. I'm not gonna snub it for that, but I don't want something that's super heavy, a heavy topic. So I'll see comedies and actions and thrillers and those types of
Oh
movies.
my.
So that's yeah, exactly. And so it's heavy on those sides of things. Yeah, let's just list them off. So Cat in the Hat. You already said Cat in the Hat. Why Cat in the Hat?
I
Briefly.
just okay. I have heard that movie is the reason the Seuss, like, I don't know what you want to call it,
Estate.
estate. Thank you. Does not allow for live action film adaptations of his books. They did The Grinch. I believe The Grinch came out first. Is that true?
Yes.
And then
Yes.
The Cat in the Hat, and they're like, we're done. Both of those are disturbed. And it is the amount of, and I saw it as a kid. All of it went over my head. It's like SpongeBob on steroids because every single joke in that movie is dirty. Every single one. But it's a kids movie. Or it was marketed as a kids movie, but there's a lot of adult humor. It's so disturbed. Like the cat himself, played by Mike Myers, is hysterical. Like I don't smoke, but I have heard from friends that this is an incredible movie to get high to. Because no, I've heard it multiple times. There are just so many like one-liners that are incredible. Like when he
Yes.
leans over to Mrs. Kwan, the babysitter, who's asleep, and says, "If this were my house, I'd be furious." Like, but it's just funny. Yeah, and he does that exactly. He does the laugh. So I love that movie so much, and it's short. It's
It's
a
good
nice,
rewatch value.
yeah. Like
too.
when he sees the mom, which like rest in peace, Kelly Preston, and the hat goes up when he opens the picture of her, like, and he's like, "Who is this?" Like when he does that, like, yeah, like
Yeah.
it's too good.
There's some hidden messages there.
There's
My
more than
first
some.
my first movie is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Have you seen that
Another
movie?
another intellectual classic.
Yo, yeah, absolutely.
I have not. I have not
Oh
seen
my
it.
gosh, you have to. Okay, so My Big Fat Greek Wedding. It's a movie that my family loves. My mom's parents loved watching it. Actually, we used to always watch it on their anniversary. It's just about just the crazy dynamics of families and like how like bringing an outsider into a family can sometimes be embarrassing, especially if it's like a romantic partner or someone, because it's just all of our families, whether you admit it or not, just have crazy quirks and things like that, and it's just
Hmm.
so flippin' funny. So that had to be on my list. And there's the first one and the second one are equally as funny, and I think they might be making a third, and I also think they might be making a TV series, but I'm trying to remember if that's true or not. But either or a movie or a TV series. But that's my first one on the list. Again, no particular order in how I'm listing them.
Yeah, I don't have an order either. I'll go to a more serious one. Finding Nemo is also on my list because
See, that was an honorable mention for me.
I see it's I was so Toy Story is an honorable mention for me because those were like my movies growing up. But and speaking of Toy Story, they're doing Toy Story 5, that's confirmed, which like we have separated these characters at the end of 2 movies already. I don't know how we're going to do this a third time, but um Finding Nemo is just like I have sentimental memories attached to it. Like I went with my nana a bunch of times. I went with my dad a bunch of times after work. Like he would take me to work, which he works in a pharmacy, so that would never fly now, but I would dress up like him. Like I wore like a dress shirt and one of his ties. But I also loved the movie as a kid. So I saw that in theaters at least 8 times, and I have a memory of us going to see the Wild Thornberrys movie me not liking it, and then sneaking into Finding Nemo. So loved that
That's
movie, and
awesome.
I loved the McDonald's toys that they gave out, the bath toys. They squirt water, that they gave out when they were promoting that movie back in 2003 or 2004. Um, Depending on
That's
if you're
awesome.
talking about the movie or the VCR. Anyways, what's your next one?
The VHS tape, yeah. My next one is Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I love Marvel movies. I love action movies. This movie was the first Marvel movie that was led by an Asian actor, and it had a lot of different types of martial arts in it, and I thought was really cool because sometimes, I mean, there were scenes that were a lot of CGI, but sometimes with Marvel movies it's all CGI. I mean, this movie coming out,
Mm.
or actually by the it's already come out, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. It's literally based in the quantum, quote unquote, quantum realm, and so that's all going to be CGI. So I'm curious to see. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm curious to see what that's going to be like. But it just, these fights were, they were real, they were choreographed, they were good, and it was just an overall good movie. The music flowed well with it, and I just really appreciate it. I still want. I think I said this a while ago. I still want one of the Funko Pops of Shang-Chi if anyone wants to, get my wish list. I can't find them anywhere in any store, even online.
We should
And
put wish lists up.
wish. I feel like that'd be desperate, but anyway, that's
It would.
not that me saying buy me this is not desperate, but
Mm.
that's the second one on my list here. What's your third?
Well, okay, so I talked about VCR players and VHS tape. My first ever DVD was Freaky Friday, the version with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And I love that movie. It was very scary to me as a kid, especially the scene where they switch like overnight when it gets dark. There's really nothing scary about it, but to like a however old I was at the time, it was scary. It's dark out. They wake up. I don't even think I understood the movie back then. It's like, well, they switched. Like I kind of got it, but like all of the the parts with like the mom, like I just saw it as Lindsay Lohan's character acting weird. I don't think I even realized that Lindsay Lohan's character was now in Jamie Lee Curtis's body. Like I
Right.
didn't think I understood it that way. But it's just a great movie, and one of the best scenes is when Lindsay Lohan is in Jamie Lee Curtis's body as at her mom's job as a therapist, and the one of her patients is talking, and she's like, and she's like she's crying, and she's trying to talk, um and it's really funny. uh I love that movie. It's a great movie.
And it was the first one you had on
Yeah,
DVD.
I don't know why I
Yeah.
remember that, but I
Yeah.
remember stupid things like that. They're also in talks to do a sequel of that.
Oh, nice. Same
Jamie
cast.
Lee Curtis has an idea, yeah, and Lindsay Lohan is down. My guess is it's gonna be, you know, Lindsay Lohan's character having kids. That's
Right.
my guess. And it's like, oh, see what I had to, because she's a troublemaker in the first
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. What's yours? What's your next one?
My third one that I'll say is Fast Five, which is funny because it's like, why all the like out of all the Fast and Furious movies, why the fifth one? I just really liked the fifth one. I think that was also the first Fast and Furious movie I had ever seen, so maybe that's why. And I know people have very strong opinions about Fast and Furious movies, like, oh, it's just nothing but just action scene after action scene. There's no plot driving anything except for like, oh, Dominic Toretto, family. And it is silly that the first few movies go from drag racing to the most recent movie, in the ninth movie, them going to space. But whatever, it's the
They go to
movies. I said I
space?
like movies. There's a very brief scene where they get launched into space and then they come back. At least some of the characters do. And I don't know. I already said that I like movies that allow me to escape into something, and those movies do that. So I like the fifth Fast movie. This is the first one that The Rock is in. That's not why I like it, but just I think noting that, and I really like it because I feel like that individual movie has a plot to it, and the final scene, the climactic scene, is they drive a safe out of a bank and like across town, like a giant bank safe, like huge bank safe, and it just like so much damage everywhere. But the scene is just fantastic. And you know, I'm a more behind the scenes type of person, so I dug into those behind the scenes. How did they do this? How did they do that? How did they drive a safe somewhere? I think they actually made a version of the safe that was its own car. So they had like the two, I think it was Dodge Chargers driving the safe, but the safe was also able like driven by like someone
Had
in the
wheels.
back. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. But yeah, Fast and Furious 5 is on my list. And again, I'm not an intellectual person. He says after saying he got into doctorate
Go.
programs,
Yeah, I was
in
gonna
terms
say.
of these movies, but just ones that I enjoy. What's your fourth?
Well, I just need to say two things. First of all, the safe scene sounds super realistic. Second, is it funny that I hear
I don't
Drag
care if it's
Race?
realistic, and
Right.
you
Well, is I hear Drag Race and I don't think of cars anymore.
you think of RuPaul.
Yeah, which
That's funny.
in his fracking empire. Um I don't know if you're
I
familiar with his work.
no
Um he fracks
fracking
hard.
empire.
Yeah, he fracks hard. Oil. Um it's not good. Anyways,
Okay.
my next favorite is I this is just one of the most wholesome movies to me. I'm looking at the poster right now, which is hanging in my wall. I saw myself in the character a lot. Love, Simon. I've talked to you a lot about Love, Victor, the show. I went with uh I'm not gonna say everyone just to protect their identities, but I can say one of them. I went with my friend and our friend, Julia Joseph, who will be on the show at some point this year. Um, she's a phenomenal storyteller. I cannot wait to have her on to share some of these stories that she shared with me. But that's neither here nor there. But we went to the movie, and I just like, did I ugly cry? I don't remember. I don't remember how much Zoloft I was on. But it's such a good movie. I've watched it so many times. I have we watched it together? We didn't we like half watch it together and you had to go, or was that someone else that had to leave campus ministry
Yeah,
halfway
you were
through?
watching it, I think, in campus ministry one year at Loyola, and
It was on
I
my birthday.
had something, and then I
No, it
walked
wasn't.
in, and then I had to leave.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You
I
had
only
something
saw like a
important.
few scenes. So I would love to watch it in its
It's
entirety.
so good. It's so good. And then the Love Victor, the sequel, which is a Hulu show, is pretty good too. The first two seasons. I don't recommend the third one personally, but whatever. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. And Nick, what was his name? Nick Robinson was a fun actor. Let's just say that. What's your fourth?
My fourth is Crazy Rich Asians,
Mm.
and I I remember going to I saw it in theaters for the first time, and then I've seen it a bunch of times after that, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was the editing that was really cool. How they in some scenes made it kind of comic booky. I just liked seeing, it's about rich people, and so I liked seeing just kind of the extravagance of different ways that rich people live, and I liked the soundtrack again. I guess soundtrack is an important thing for me in movies, maybe. I don't know. But I really enjoyed that movie. And again, maybe it's probably not a classic, but I liked
I
it.
it, it
It's on my
it
list.
received acclaim. It definitely received acclaim. I still could not tell you what it's about, but
Did it win any awards?
I don't know. We could probably ask Nick
Yeah.
when he gets here.
Did it win any awards, Nick?
He's not here yet.
Yeah, right.
My last one should be no surprise because I've said it before. Is Get Out. My favorite type of movie above all else. Not horror, not you know comedy. It can be any genre. It just has to have an incredible plot twist that I did not see coming. If it can
Hmm.
do that, if it can shock me, then it's skyrocketing on my list. And Get Out did just that. And the amount of foreshadowing and symbolism in that movie, that is a movie you can watch 20 times and still not see everything. But you'll learn something new about it and notice something new every single time. It was phenomenal. And I saw it at the Towson movie theater, which is one of my all-time favorite movie theaters, if not my favorite. I saw it with Tom. We weren't expecting it to even be great because the people were saying, "Oh, it's phenomenal," but the trailer that came out did not tell you what the movie was about. So
Hmm.
I was like, I don't know what we're watching. I didn't have that high of an expectation, but it is by far my favorite movie. And the fact that there's social commentary in it is it really is
Cherry
an
on top.
11 out of 10 movie. Um,
Yeah.
what's your last one? And can
My
I just
last
point
one.
out? I'm sorry. Can I just point out? I got through all of that without mentioning Lady Gaga. She is not in my top 5 movies.
Well, now she's here, so no.
Well, she's here, but I was just gonna say, like, she's not, like, A Star Is Born and House of Gucci are not in my top 5 movies. And I'm proud of myself for
Proud of
that.
you.
Though I don't really love Marvel or DC, but that could change with Joker too. Folia de Did you see the picture that just came out? Oh my God, she looked
We still need to
crazy.
see the first one together.
Yes, we will, but she looks crazy, and I knew they were not gonna make her look cartoony comic book like. I knew it. I said it, but anyways, what's your last one?
My last one, I felt like I had to put a serious one that actually won an Oscar. So it's from 2013. It's called Argo. Are you familiar with this movie?
No.
No. So it's about the 1973 Iranian hostage crisis. 1979 hostage crisis in Iran. And basically there are 6 U.S. embassy workers in Iran when militants stormed the embassy, and so they kind of went out a back door and went into the Canadian ambassador's home, and basically they're stuck there. And if they're there for long enough, they're going to be executed. And so it's about the CIA's basically evacuation plan to get them out of the country. And it stars Ben Affleck. It has John Goodman. It has Bryan Cranston in it. And Ben Affleck's character goes into Iran with a fake film crew. He's a CIA agent. And basically he's going into the country and saying that, he's a location director, and he's trying to scout locations for a sci-fi film they're going to make. But really he's going in to help these hostages escape. And it's just a really cool thriller drama 2-hour long movie that and it actually won Best Picture at the Oscars in 2013. So
it sounds really good.
I really enjoyed that movie, and I forgot I saw it before I was doing research for this episode.
Yeah, no, that sounds like something I would like. He just got into Johns Hopkins Comparative Thought and Literature grad program. He was literally the last friend I met at Loyola before the world went to shit, and our entire friendship has been over the phone, many a times discussing our existential crises. Please welcome my friend Nick Bosi.
Hi, Nick.
Hi, Justin. Hi, Nick. It's so good to be on the show finally, because I've been hearing about it since the first day.
I love that.
Yeah.
He loves that
day
too,
ones.
apparently. But anyways, before we start, we have to ask you this question. And it's actually the first time we've asked it this year. If you were a fruit, what fruit would you be? And why?
Okay. So I think that if I were a fruit, I would be a lemon. Because I saw a video the other day of a girl being like, I like to eat lemons. And then I was like, not a lot. That sounds like very weird. Like, not a lot of people like to eat lemons. And I think that I am an acquired taste. So I would say a lemon.
I love that.
Is that our first lemon?
Taste. I think so. And if it's not, if you're not our first lemon, then sorry to whoever it was.
We've had a lime.
We have had a lime.
So you've had a lime?
Yeah.
What was the reasoning for the lime?
What was the reasoning for the lime?
It was similar. It's like limes.
I think they said acquired taste.
Acquired taste can go with different things. Like you can drizzle a little bit of lime onto foods and things like that.
We love drizzling a little bit of lime.
A little bit of lime, a little bit of lemon.
A little bit of salmon.
Yeah.
Well, the lemon can be sweet, but it can also be savory. So.
Yeah.
See, that was my mom's reasoning for being a grape.
What?
Yeah,
I've never heard of a savory grape.
Like, no, it's not savory, sweet or sour. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
A savory grape would be.
Put a grape on your steak.
Yeah.
Wait, honestly, I feel like
good.
someone's done that before. I'm sure someone's done that.
Okay, well, if they have, they should be in prison. So.
That was a good. I liked that one. I liked that. Can we just talk a little bit more about how we met? Because we actually met in a similar way that I met Justin. It was through campus ministry pro staff member Elise Gower, who no longer works at Loyola. But
Sad.
Justin, we kind of met through her too, just in the way that we were interns together. Well, I know it wasn't her specifically, but you know,
A stretch, but sure.
yeah, you know. Nick, do you want to like explain how we met a little bit?
Yeah, so we were both we had both applied to be, what was it? It was like the
Ignatian Q.
Ignatian Q. Yeah, we were
Yes.
both gonna do Ignatian Q, and then I went to talk to Elise because I was like, I'm gay and sad on Loyola's campus, and I want to talk to some more gay people. And then she was like, "Oh, let me connect you to the student who also is doing Ignatian Q."
That's hysterical that she thought of me as somebody who's like doing well, I guess. Like that's
Yeah.
hysterical.
I literally thought you were going to say, oh, let me
Very cool.
connect you
No,
to
just
someone who is also gay and sad.
That's honestly
No.
probably what she was thinking.
Maybe that's what she was thinking. She was like, "Oh my God, they're both named Nick," or maybe she was like, "Oh, they're
Right.
both named Nick. They both have brown hair. Like, I guess they have so much in common."
Let's do it.
Yeah, but luckily it worked out. I remember when I was emailing you, we emailed initially.
I love that.
I remember when I was emailing you, I was like so nervous because I was like, "Oh my God, I'm talking to a senior. Like, I don't want them to think I'm lame or something."
Well, wait, I think it's so cool that you're now in that position. Like, that's what this entire, and that's the whole reason, that's not even why you're on the show, but that's the whole reason I brought the conversation up, is because this show was formed off of, you know, life after college. And
Yeah.
the fact that you're in the position that I was in when we met is really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, now that I'm a senior, like, I don't know. Like, I feel just as lost as it. Well, not
Same.
just as lost, because I'm got into grad school. But still, it's like, I don't know. I don't know who I'm going to be in, like, when I'm done in, like, 6 years or something. Like, you know, I think as a freshman, I expected seniors to, like, have their life figured out, to be, like, the actual adults. But, like, no. A lot of the time, I still feel like a freshman in some ways. So.
And that's the foundation of the show.
That is. And to be honest, 3 years out, or however long I've been out of here, you still feel like a freshman. You know.
A life freshman,
Right.
though.
Yeah. Well, I am a life freshman still, I would say.
Yeah, you are.
Like, I think once you're out of school probably for like the first 5 years, you're like a life freshman.
Yeah.
But I have a distinct memory of being in the Pride room with you and a few other people, and us being like, "Oh, the corn of virus, what the hell is that?" Like, that's nuts. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
Oh,
We're gonna be back in
like,
2
a week.
weeks. This
We'll be
is
fine.
stupid. Like, people are making a big deal of it. And
then,
yeah.
Now
That
you're
was
a
before
senior.
we knew, though. That was before we knew. We were not COVID deniers.
honey, you got a big storm coming. I want to go back and like tell us that.
Honestly, what would you ever
Yeah.
say to yourself if you like went back? Maybe that.
It's funny you say that because I was looking at my swipe. My swipe is like our student IDs at Loyola.
I
And
have mine.
The
right here.
photo that we took, like, I don't know if, I think Nick Gervasi, you probably took it at summer orientation. I don't know if that
I
was
did.
what you did, Nick, but I look at that photo and I think I was at Loyola when we were looking at them and I was like, oh, he doesn't know what's coming. Like, it's just so innocent and so naive.
Yeah, that photo was taken. My photo was still, because they keep the same photo throughout all your 4 years. I look so different than my freshman photo. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Okay, so before we get into your predictions for the show,
Mhm.
can you just kind of rattle off your because we have an intellectual now.
Yes.
What are
We
your
intended
top
to,
5 favorite movies?
My top 5 favorite movies. Okay. So I would have to say, looking at my letterboxd, top 60, it would be Beau Travail, by Claire Denis, which is, well, I'll just list them all and then I'll like maybe talk briefly about each one. So
Okay.
Beau Travail, by Claire Denis, Stalker by Tarkovsky, Ratcatcher by Lynn Ramsey, probably Ye Ye by Edward Yang, and then Uncle Boonmi Who Can Recall His Past Lives by Apichat Pongwara.
I don't know what you said on the last one, but
Okay.
it's
You
not
could have
because
been
you didn't.
speaking a different language.
Yeah,
for all
it's
of them.
not because you were not enunciating. You were.
Yeah.
It's because my brain doesn't comprehend that. But Beau
Doesn't
Travail
comprehend
is
it.
Beau Travail is a Beau Travail.
Yeah, Beau Travail.
Provide, that was actually in the running. That it was that or the Cat in the Hat. They were really fighting.
Wait, have you really seen Boat? Oh wait, no, you're lying.
No, I'm lying.
You should watch it though, because
I'm sure they're all good.
Yeah. I mean, The Cat in the Hat is also, like a masterpiece of directing, cinematography, production design.
It is.
I guess a running theme is movies about
trauma.
People, about trauma, about trauma and people in precarious situations. I think my favorite movies are ones where it's not clear how you're supposed to feel, and like you can suspend your, I don't know, assumptions about a character initially.
The whole reason I had you on this show for this episode specifically is because I am interested in seeing, as you know, we recently just predicted what Rihanna's set list would be like for the halftime show. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in knowing what your predictions are for this year's Oscars.
Okay.
So you can hit us with all in the big categories, and then we'll see if you're right in the next episode.
Okay, Best Picture is going to be... So, Best Picture is either Actually, no, I'm gonna go backwards. Just like the Oscars. So, Best Original Song, which is, I know, a category that you are really obsessed with.
I'm really passionate about!
I know.
What are the nominees? Because I really only care about one and a half of them.
The nominees are Applause from a movie
also
that nobody's
Lady Gaga.
seen.
No, I'm kidding.
I know, it is a Lady Gaga title.
There is a meme, too, that like, oh, she's nominated twice. Good for her.
For Applause. Yeah, R.I.P. Diane Warren.
You know that meme has since made Applause, like, trend in her catalog.
Oh my god.
Like,
yeah, that song was underrated when it came out.
Yeah, it was. It did hit number 4, though, on the Billboard Hot 100. Anyways...
Yeah, so to Applause from a movie that nobody's seen by a woman named Diane Warren, who like famously gets nominated every year but never wins.
Yeah, and she was nominated with Lady Gaga for Till It Happens to You. But yeah, she does a lot of she's a very accredited songwriter.
Mm-hmm. Hold My Hand by Lady Gaga.
I've heard of her.
The Lift Me Up by Rihanna.
Yep.
Not To from a film called RRR, which is like a Bollywood film that like famously got like a lot of precursors, but then wasn't nominated for anything other than song.
Yeah.
But like won a lot of song like awards throughout the season.
Yeah, I heard that's like kind of like a front runner, that song.
It is. Okay, yeah. Like, oh, well, I'll just say the last one and then I'll talk. And then This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is cool because it's David Byrne and Mitski, who are some of my favorite artists. But famously, no Taylor Swift, which is interesting.
There were rumors.
But I think she's been snubbed before.
Yeah, I think she has too. There were rumors of Rihanna and Lady Gaga both performing.
Yeah, that would be amazing if they performed together.
Well, not together, but their songs. Like that are nominated.
Well, yeah, they're gonna be there to every like a performer like performs a song, but yeah, I mean it should be based on the precursors. The film from the song from RRR, Not To, which I think is actually very fun, but I actually think that Lift Me Up might win. Only because Black Panther has gotten awards in more has gotten nominations in more categories, and it's also a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. And Chadwick Boseman famously was snubbed for Best Actor, so the Academy has reason to correct that.
Fair, but I still think Hold My Hand is a better song.
I do too. I 100%.
I think hearing those categories or those nominees, I think Lift Me Up's gonna win.
I think so too. I would give it to Hold My Hand because it's my favorite of the category, but I also have no music taste, so Not that Lady Gaga doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying I can't judge music
I
accurately.
think you. Okay. Anyways, next major. I don't even know if that's considered major. I just think you put it in there because I like it.
Okay, so animated film. I'll just say that one real quick. So we have Pinocchio, Marcel the Shell with shoes on,
That's out.
Puss in Boots the. You didn't like
I
that?
didn't know it was out.
Oh yeah, it's been
I'm
out.
dead.
It was out last year.
I'm dead.
And then we have Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I think that's gonna win.
Okay, The Sea Beast and Turning Red. I think Pinocchio is gonna win because it's by Guillermo del Toro and it's won a couple of the precursors. I'll go on to the acting categories. For supporting actress, we have Angela Bassett for Black Panther, Hong Chow for The Whale, Carrie Condon for The Banshees of Inisherin, and then Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Sue for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I wanted to be Stephanie Sue because I was really touched by her performance, and I thought that it would just be a fun performance to win. Like, you don't really have a lot of like well, one, because she demonstrated a lot of range in that
A
movie.
lot
Like,
of
she was
range.
yeah, she was extremely charismatic, like very funny. But then also like she really dipped into the drama as well, especially in those moments near the end, and in that moment where she was like initially confronting Michelle Yeoh,
Have you seen her
for like
audition tape for that movie?
yeah, I
Just
have, and
watching
that
that brings me to tears. Like, just oh my god, the range
yeah.
she has in that. I don't know, 10-minute video is just crazy.
Oh yeah, and I when I saw that, that's what made me go like, oh, she should win,
Mm-hmm.
because like
Sure.
again, she just has the most unique performance out of all of these nominees. But it's probably gonna be Angela Bassett for Black
I think
Panther
so
because
too.
she's won a lot of the yeah, she's won a lot of the precursors. Even though I'm kind of like, I mean, Angela Bassett is amazing, but like she's just putting on like a Marvel movie performance in that movie. But
Can you just for our audience, uh, let us know what the precursors are? Like maybe Globe, maybe SAG Award.
oh yeah,
But I don't know.
so the precursors for the Oscars are usually like the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice Awards, and then there are also for actors the Screen Actors Guild Awards, for directors the Directors Guild Awards, and then also the British Academy Film Awards, which is like the British Oscars.
Okay,
Most of those haven't come out yet, but the Critics' Choice and the Golden Globes have. But when those get settled, like then a lot of the categories will clear up.
gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then for Best Supporting Actor, we have Brendan Gleeson for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brian Tyree Henry for Causeway, Barry Keoghan also for The Banshees of Inisherin, Judd Hirsch for The Fablemans, and Ke Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. Again, I think that Ke Huy Quan should win, and he's also going to win, because he's been like sweeping everything. Oh yeah, some of the precursors can also include like critics awards sometimes, and Ke Huy Quan has famously like swept everything. For Best Actress, we have Kate Blanchett for Tar, Ana de Armas for Blonde, the famous what's it called? Marilyn Monroe
Yeah, I was gonna say
exploitation
Marilyn
movie.
Monroe.
Yeah,
Exploitation.
nobody knows. Yeah, because
I've
it was an
heard.
exploitation film.
I've.
Nobody knows why she was nominated. Um, Andrea Riseborough for To Leslie, Michelle Williams for The Fablemans, and Michelle Yeoh for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think Kate Blanchett is going to win, and I also think Kate Blanchett should win, just because. I mean, after I got out of that movie, I was like, "Oh, is Lydia Tarr a real person?" And then I checked online, and it's like, "Oh no, she's not." Kate Blanchett just like created someone who feels like she exists outside of the screen, and so she should win. Although I wouldn't be disappointed if Michelle Yeoh won because she's been snubbed for a lot of things in the past. Um, and and she also does like everything and everything everywhere all at once. And then for best actor, we have Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser for The Whale, Paul Mescal for After Sun, and Bill Nye for A Living. And I think it's going to be Brendan Fraser for The Whale. I can't give my opinions on the other categories because I haven't seen these other movies. But in The Whale, like I don't know. People have been going off about Brendan Fraser's performance in that. I think it's a little bit weird based on what I've heard of the film, which makes me go like, that's regressive. But I don't know. Go off Academy, I guess. Good for Brendan Fraser.
Mhm.
You can tell that I really love the Oscars. And then Best Director, Martin McDonagh for The Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Steven Spielberg for The Fablemans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Östlund for Triangle of Sadness. And I think it's going to be the Daniels because Everything Everywhere All at Once is the front runner for Best Picture. But I think Steven Spielberg could upset because the movie is about his life. And he's also won like a couple awards previously.
A couple.
Yeah. But the Daniels are like right there with him. I really hope they end up winning because that movie deserves it. It's like much more unique. And then Best Picture, we have All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar 2, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. And I think it's going to be Everything Everywhere All at Once if it wins Best Director and Best Original Screenplay. If not, then it's going to be The Banshees of Inisherin, which is like I think a Scottish movie about like these two guys who used to be friends,
Irish,
but then they're not friends anymore. Yeah, an Irish. Okay, have you seen it?
I have not seen it, but I know someone who has seen it and had interesting reviews about it, and kind of gave me like a plot synopsis. And yeah, I've seen bits and pieces. It's an interesting movie for sure.
I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, I think this individual who saw it went in with different expectations of what the movie was actually about, and so they were just kind of like more shock value. But I hear that the performances are really stellar.
I think like what you described is why I think Everything Everywhere is probably going to win, just because like the Oscars don't give it to movies that are like that are a little bit, I don't know, like not emotionally uplifting. Well, they used to do that, like Schindler's List one time. But lately they've been giving. I mean, The Power of the Dog was supposed to win last year, which was like leagues ahead of most of the other films that were nominated, except for Drive My Car. But then like Coda famously like won at the last minute after only receiving 3 nominations. So, yeah,
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Last thing I wanted to ask you: do you think there will be what do you think that will be the most talked about moment? Because obviously last year was the slap, which like kind of took away the slap that Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, which took away from kind of what the night is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be, like the most important night in Hollywood and all that stuff, and everyone gets dressed up and all of that. But assuming there's no big event like that, what do you think is going to be the most talked about event or moment from days afterwards?
So I think that like this might be a little bit more serious, but like I could see it also going south in like some ways. So Jimmy Kimmel is like hosting the Oscars again. And
Hey James.
What?
Is it Hey James?
Oh yeah, Hey James. And I remember like when he hosted for I think like the 90 what is it, like the 91st Academy Awards or something, the one after the Shape of Water one. No, it was like it was the year of the Shape of Water. He made a lot of jokes about like the mishap that happened in like the La La Land year. So he's someone who like likes to touch on like issues that are kind of looming over the Oscars that aren't that not everyone is necessarily sort of talking about. And this year, infamously in the Best Actress category, Viola Davis was kind of set to be nominated, as was another really great actress named Danielle Deadwyler, who was in this movie Till, where she played Emmett Till's mother. And both of them were snubbed. And both of them were black actresses. And the Oscars has had a lot of issues like nominating black actors before. So like this was a big yikes for them. And I could imagine like someone making a joke about it or someone sort of touching on it and kind of looking a bit hypocritical. So I can imagine there might be a Twitter moment about that. Justly so, I think.
Yeah.
Because
some culture or societal commentary that just doesn't land well.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Well, thank you, Nick, for being here. We appreciate your insight. We're very interested to see how your predictions hold up. And with that, my name's Nick Gervasi.
And I'm Justin Dew.
You can reach us at our email, pointofdewpodcast@gmail.com, or by sending us a voice message on our website, anchor.fm/pointofdew. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Point of Dew Podcast, and Twitter at Point of Dew. If you enjoy our show, give us a rating or review wherever you get your podcast, or share us with a friend or family member. We'd really appreciate it and are truly grateful for your support. As always, we hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening, and until next time,
Eat.